This is the Oakwyn Podcast, featuring Morgan Brown and Michael Yu.
Welcome to the Oakwyn Podcast. I'm your host, Michael Yu.
And I'm Morgan Brown.
And I'm the Podfather.
Podfather.
And this is a new
format. It's called
Waiting for Lunch to be Delivered.
So we're waiting for DoorDash to be delivered. So this is, hey, why don't we do behind the scenes of the podcast? Okay, so just so that you guys, for you guys that don't know, if you've been watching some of the videos of the podcast, that we wear the same clothes every week. Yeah, or at least. So we do all the podcasts actually like once per month and essentially just like run them through.
Yes, we're very lucky.
And I also wear the same clothes all the time.
He does.
I do.
Yeah,
I'm notorious. I do not like too many clothes.
How many t-shirts do you have?
10.
How many that aren't Oakwyn shirts?
8.
I've only designed 2.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, like, you know, so we're waiting for DoorDash to be delivered. What did we get today?
We had we got taco fino. I just got the wraps, chicken wraps.
Oh,
I splurged
nice.
today, guys.
Yeah.
I was like, creative juices. No, I think, so we are at Mike's house. Michael's big, massive house
It's not a
in
big
Carousel.
It's huge.
It's huge. Yes.
It's huge. And I'm from China. So this is behind the scenes of the pod. You know, we're gonna like unpack. We're gonna go like unpack, like pull the curtains.
Okay, what are
Reveal our nudity.
Well, we both have very busy lives, right? I mean, Mike's not as busy as I am.
No, I'm not as busy as Morgan.
And it's not fair. I hold major resentment. No. And I think we try to schedule it in so that we can get as much in one time. But I think we also have like our superpower like energy, like when we know that this is going to come for the day, both of us are like in the vibes.
Ready, like we get pumped for the podcast day. So yeah, we're just basically, you know, how do you get pumped for podcast day?
I listen to really loud music.
Oh,
like
really?
today I was
Like bumping the hip hop.
You have some white stuff on your nose.
Oh yeah, I know. It's cocaine. People.
That's how she gets
You didn't figure
pumped
that
for
out.
podcast. How many lines?
You know what's amazing though? Okay, so first of all, it is March 12th today, right?
Yeah.
It's March 12th. And I'm totally going to just date this whole thing.
Sure.
But basically, it is sunny out in Vancouver right now.
Yeah.
Which is rare.
Right.
And I feel like yesterday when I was driving up Main Street, 'cause I live on the east side of people, and driving past all the breweries and everyone was just like out at the breweries and was eating outside with friends.
Patios.
And the patios were having.
So it feels back to normal.
Feels good, right?
Yeah.
And I feel like that the energy, like just on the outside, is what's giving me energy on the inside right now.
Well, I feel like, you know, they say that everyone is kind of vitamin D deficient.
Yes.
Like, so vitamin D is the sunshine vitamin, right? But, you know, that's what
he is a sunlight.
I have a like spotlight on me right now. But yeah, like, and you know, I think it's underrated how like people are spending so much time indoors, specifically during the pandemic. I've actually taken vitamin D supplements.
Yes.
Do you take anything?
I take 5,000 UDIs a day.
UDI is what you use to prevent what happened to your stomach, right?
What is it?
That's an IUD.
Dyslexic.
Nailed it.
UDI.
UDI.
Isn't that urinary tract
No, it's
infection?
unit.
UT. That's a T.
That's a
T.
UTI.
Yeah. Yeah. Go on.
Isn't it unit? What is it? Unit D. Do you know what it is?
No, I don't
Call
know
your
what it
wife
is.
and ask her.
I'll get her on the horn.
Call your wife, Brayden.
So vitamin D has.
Well, because I'm Southeast Asian,
Right.
which is a major deficient. Like because I'm in a very like dark climate, people like even the like the whole Black community, the whole
Right.
they're very like vitamin D deficient.
Yeah.
And actually,
They
they
gotta take
talked
those
about that.
supplements.
They did talk about that for COVID, is how much that.
Yeah. So, you know, there's obviously we're doing a great job kind of with COVID in Canada and in our city and, you know, our office and everything like that. But I think a lot of people, what they don't talk about is their own personal immunity and how they can boost their own immune systems. And so it's, what do you do to boost your immune system?
Well, lately I've been walking up and down the stairs because I'm huge. No, because I'm pregnant. No. And I think vitamin D is like my number one.
Vitamin D is a good one. And then
just getting outside. Like you need fresh air, people. Like
Yeah.
it's amazing, right? Like, I mean, I'm lucky I have a dog and a child that forced me to get outside.
And also reducing stress, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
But did you see Bonnie Henry let 10 people in a park or a beach or
Right.
your backyard?
By the time
As
this
of
comes out,
yesterday.
it might be 20.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh yeah. But
So that's some behind the
the
scenes.
first thing I did was I was so excited about this kind of being able to be with other people.
Yeah.
Like as soon as that came out, I was so pumped. Like to start planning to see other people together. Like, you know,
I went and bought a
together.
fire pit.
Did
Yeah.
you?
Oh, did you?
No, I already had a fire pit, but I started
Yeah.
calling people and was like, let's do the fire pit.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's something like a primal like about like crowding around a fire, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's nice.
Yeah.
Like, do you have it like, is it real wood burning or is it like a propane thing?
I have a natural gas one,
Okay.
but I'm going to test the water. So I'm going to get a
right.
wood one and see
Yeah.
what my neighbors say.
You're so cool. You gotta get a uni, like a pizza uni smoker.
That would be
You
nice.
You and Sean should hang out.
Yeah,
and
there's
we
this,
should.
there's this, you can invite, don't invite me. Okay, I'll roast spoil the mood. I'm just kidding. But like, there's like this book I read, I think it's called Mythos, and it talked about like the hearth, I forget who the god of the hearth is. So like, this was actually a really big thing in Greek tradition, was to be around the fire, around the hearth of a home. And it was like, there was actually like a god that represented that moment where human beings are crowded around a fire at night, telling stories and talking. And I feel like that's such a, missing part of what's, happening now. And just part of human experience now. It's like changing so much, right?
Yeah, I think so too. I can't wait because I'm already planning like a sip and see, which everyone does. You know what
What's a sip and see?
Oh, yeah.
Sip and see is like when your baby comes, it's like instead of a bride, like a baby shower, it's like a time where I can get all the closest people I love together and so they can see the baby. Like it's like typical, and it's like a sip, meaning get drunk.
Oh, okay. All right.
I'm getting a keg, people. I'm getting a
That's
keg.
a little more than a sip.
Yeah. Do you sip from a keg?
Yeah.
I am craving beer so much right now.
Yeah? What's the first beer you're gonna have when your child?
I feel like a 33 acres like sunshine beer.
Oh
Yeah.
I'm so excited.
She just
I am
vibrated.
so excited. And no, because my husband drinks beer like he's like
Yeah.
a beer drinker.
Yeah.
So I smell all these beautiful
Yeah.
scents across the. I'm like, can I smell that?
That's right.
And
gotta be tough.
it's tough, but like it just.
He's a stumbling drunk, actually.
He is a stumbling drunk. He's that
Yeah,
European
he's-
Viking.
Yeah, he's like Barney from Simpsons.
I
a lot
swear to
more
God, he
beautiful.
buys them. Like he's on all these like Reddit and things, and
Yeah.
he sees all these things coming out, and like there's always like a cool tall boy in my fridge all the
Yeah.
time. So he's now like he now uses the fridge in our cabana just like as his like beer fridge, because I'm like, where do you get that beer? And
So
he's like,
tell us
it's in
about
the
this
other
cabana.
fridge.
What's this cabana?
Okay, so we're redoing our backyard
Yeah.
right now, and it's awesome.
Yeah, I saw that
It's
all the
so cool.
diggers and yeah.
Yeah. And I wanted to do it because obviously COVID, I didn't know if I was going to be able to have my like family and friends over to see my daughter. So it was like, it was
Yeah.
really important for me to have an outdoor space. My mom's going through some medical stuff too. So I just wanted to make sure it was like super safe for everybody. So outside is the safest. And we did a cabana, which during COVID, because I wanted to work from home as much as I could.
Yeah.
And, I didn't have enough space in our house. So my husband enclosed our whole garage and made it like an office / like bonus room in the back. But now it's become like his domain. It's like not my, it has nothing to do with me now. Like he has surround sound. There's like a Brer fridge. There's like his desk.
Yeah,
it's
wasn't that
his
your
thing.
office?
It was.
Yeah. Oh.
And it's been, but then I really enjoy working with people.
Yeah.
So as soon as COVID, like even during COVID, Mike, Arlene, and I were really at our office. Like we really, I think we all enjoy being with with
Yeah,
open agents.
I'm an office guy.
Me
Like,
too.
Yeah, like I tried working from home. Like
You're so gonna get distracted.
I just get distracted
Yeah.
so easily. Like it's always fun to like like hang out with Pri and just kind of like,
Hey, what are you up to?
you're like, what's going on over here? Like, or the cat.
But you had like a little bit of time during COVID. Like, tell me about like right when COVID hit, you went on this like kind of like chill mode where you're walking everywhere.
Yeah, I was just like, because, you know, I've been, when I'm working, I'm really focused. I love what I do. And, you know, I'm so happy to be able to serve a lot of agents and the staff and, do stuff all the time. But this was like really a big excuse to be like break time. Like it's, so I really tried to like suck all the juices, all the nectar out of that time. So basically I was like on walks all the time.
Yes.
I was trying to do this thing where, because I always listen to podcasts and I always listen to things, I was trying to like enjoy quiet, like, and this is something from my wife's awesome. So like, just to be quiet until they just like go walk without something going like in my ears. And just like, just enjoy, kind of being outside and a little bit of nature. So I did a lot of like hikes. I went camping a bunch and, really got to like kind of soak into that. And then, once we started back again, I just, it was almost like I had a different perspective.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. And it's nice to take those breaks, right?
Yeah.
How long did that last of you not getting things here?
It lasted about a month, and then Arlene and Morgan like laid the hammer down on
We're
me.
like over his
Yeah,
shit.
like I was just like, hey guys, like why?
We're like, are you a hippie? Get the hell away from us. No, it's because Arlene
Start
and
caring
I,
about money again. I'm like, oh.
You smell like patchouli.
Okay. All right, step out of it.
we're like, you're giving up on us. Arlene and I were like we were in like the, what I think a chef mode. We were really in the kitchen,
Yeah.
right? Like we were both like trying to restructure, re-put things in, re-pivot our company, everything.
We went on, like we put all our education programming, we switched it from physical to digital. We like our marketing got ramped up. Arlene had
Crazy.
to move all our staff from our staff basically
From A to B.
We're all sitting within like 1 foot of each other, and now all of a sudden we had to like change everything and put all these different protocols in place. And wow, it was just like a mountain.
But that was only internally.
Yeah.
And then on the external front with our agents, it was the COVID, like with COVID, we were just so scared and wanted to make sure our people were protected.
Yeah.
They were super well informed. Communication was our biggest priority during that time to make sure everyone felt that touch from Oakwyn and everyone inside. We started the pod.
Yeah, to do this. And it's been like, so
Awesome.
I think it's like, even though, I think COVID's been a net positive, honestly, with, for our company.
It's given us a lot of opportunity.
Yeah, it's given a lot of,
Yeah.
and, we're able to pivot and show what we can do and kind of, it's been a lot of fun. And like, even like we're talking, this is the behind the scenes at the podcast, but like, being able to do interesting things and like hang out with Brayden.
I know.
It's been
It's
like
fun. Talk about beer and stuff.
But Brayden started his like a whole new company because of this,
Yeah.
right?
I used to be like almost completely doing just music production and
Yes.
teaching. And now I just podcasting all the time.
It's so
awesome.
good. It's so good. And you must just be like a sponge listening to everyone's knowledge. That must be so cool.
Totally. Yeah.
Oh my
And
gosh.
I'm not sure this opportunity would have happened if
Yeah.
it wasn't for COVID. So it's sort of a similar thing for me where I could have said, you know what, this sucks. My business is going down the hole, but instead I just decided to pivot. And
Yeah. If
that's
not now,
awesome.
when, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
So you mentioned listening to, what is the number one thing you've learned from Morgan?
What?
Brayden?
From Morgan.
Yeah. What's the number one thing you've learned from Morgan?
Give Michael first. And
No. We got to start with the boss.
I am Bruce Springsteen.
Boss. I think it's all about just staying positive and just like hunkering down even when you think it's almost impossible to. Like you just never seem to like, nothing seems to like really phase you. I'm sure it does, but it doesn't seem like it does. So yeah.
Tell that to my husband. No, I'm just joking.
Yeah, you are very positive, actually.
You know what? I am very lucky. I'm a very lucky person. It's
Yeah.
like what I was telling you before. We were just talking in our break. Another break. This is another mini break.
Yeah.
But basically, I was like, me and Sean have this theory that people that don't enjoy the small things in life, like the normal things, and they just judge off the bat, they live shorter lives.
Oh yeah, well they do, right?
Right, because they're like, oh, this is not the right beer, it's a kokanee, and I'm like, just drink the fucking kokanee. We're outside in the wilderness.
I hate coconut.
I know. We were talking in context of white spot. We were talking in context of white spot because
White
David
Spot.
Chang has this thing called on Netflix called what's the show called?
It's like a food show.
It's a
right?
food
Yeah.
show, and he's like trying on all the pizzas all over the world.
Okay.
and he keeps on going back to Domino's. And Domino's is really bad. Everyone hates Domino's. Okay.
Right.
But he found he was like, this is just the best. Like he just has this whole thing. Like it has to be good for some people. And you know what I mean? Like it's not, if you don't get wrapped up in like the stigma of it being just like this cheap $15 pizza, for some people that's really good. So you have to value that as well and not put your placement on it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and I thought
definitely.
as an art, like he's an artist or a chef, it's a great way of thinking. I don't think you should ever judge a book by its cover, but you should also just realize that could be someone else could really enjoy it and just like take in for that. So that's Sean and I's motto is that we just,
You gotta appreciate the
small things and appreciate everything for what it is.
Yeah.
Not.
Well,
yeah.
Life is all about perspective, right? Like, you see these like multi-gazillionaires and they're like miserable, right?
Oh my gosh.
And
Who's the most miserable billionaire that you think?
I don't know. I feel like I don't know. I feel like some people have this, and it's a bit evil, but some people have this like this craving for power and control, and which you can kind of feel it. Like for example, someone that doesn't is someone like Richard Branson, who we've talked about before, the
Love
Virgin
him.
guy. He's just like living life. He's super like enthusiastic, family. Gregarious. He's himself. And then you have someone like Rupert Murdoch or something like that, who's
Conrad Black.
Yeah.
Like
Conrad
owning
Black.
everything. I want to own everything. And and I feel like deep down there's some deep insecurity, and they're very, very
Unhappy.
unhappy. But that's for judgment from the outside. I don't know for sure. I haven't had dinner with him yet. No. Yeah.
But look at Warren Buffett and Bill Gates. Like those two, they're so happy and they're like very content with very little. And that's what Warren Buffett has the same house that he's had since he forever. Like
Yeah.
he could have, that's, he doesn't crave.
He can afford it.
Yeah. He doesn't crave to go into that next segment because he doesn't feel like he needs to show anybody anything. And I think that creates a great amount
when
of
you
happiness.
when you kind of break past your ego, and you're just kind of like past it, and then it's like time to like contribute to others, right? And it's really like, what I always love is when a leader kind of talks about their their team and like the people that they work with, and how they've seen them grow and change and transform positively, and kind of contribute to their just immediate surroundings. And then when they start talking about contributing in a greater sense, right, to their city or to a group of people or a passion or something, and then kind of seeing how it kind of goes from there, and then that becomes a lot of fun to see.
Yeah, it really does.
Yeah, totally. So behind the scenes at the pod, so let's just run it down. Like, let's say someone wanted to start a podcast, Brayden. Like, what have you seen?
Well, what have I seen? Like, how does the process go?
Yeah, please.
Well, you would essentially sit down with somebody like myself and talk about the logistics
Podfather.
you talk about the logistics of starting the podcast, what you want to do, what's your goal, break it down from there into what's your target audience, and then break it down into basically feed all of your content towards that target audience. It's almost like being a business, and you have your like customer avatar, you have your target audience, right? And then it comes down to the logistics of where, how much time do you have to record? How often do you want to put an episode out? What's your budget? Do you want to do video too? All these sorts of things are factors. It's like when people come and say like, what's it going to cost me to start a podcast? Can you just shoot me some numbers? It's like, oh God, there's like 20 factors. Like it all comes down to how much time it takes and how crazy you want to get about it. Right. So like if I always tell people, like I've had friends ask like, I want to start a podcast, should I hire you? And it's like, if if you're going to start a hobbyist, if you're going to be a hobbyist starting a podcast,
No.
you're not going to see an ROI on that.
Right.
So you should just, I can help you learn it and you do it yourself. Or if you're going to do it for a business, that's when you're going to see a
Different.
return, then that makes sense to hire a producer, right? So there's so many variables, but like that's kind of the overall breakdown.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
What do you think of Clubhouse?
Clubhouse, I'm just getting into it. It's cool. It's especially, I think now during COVID, it's like you can just pop into a room with somebody and it's weirdly enough feels like you're just walked into a room with somebody.
It feels like that, doesn't it? It feels
Super
super
weird.
weird. The only thing I get
Do you
really,
like it?
The only thing that really throws me off is that they talk for so long and then you're kind of like missing. Do you know what I mean? If there was like a time slot, then I'd be like, okay, I can make
I think
time
that's the
for it.
point, right?
Yeah, but it's like then I like don't want to miss, and then the room is gone. Like the content is gone after.
Right.
So
yeah.
it doesn't get recorded.
No.
See, I've only kind of dabbled, and I've been just walking into rooms of like people I know. Like I walked into a room with Dalen.
Yeah, he's always
Bouchard
on
the other
it.
day,
He's
and
always
just
on
like,
it.
Yeah.
and he's like, having a couple beers with a couple buddies, and he's like, "We're gonna start a pod. Hey, there's a podcast producer. Yeah, you're gonna be our podcast." And I was like, "Okay, Dalen, slow your roll."
Yeah.
They're like, "How much is it gonna cost?" I was like, "Okay, let's just back it up here." But then it was, it was like 5 minutes, and then I just popped out, and I was like, "Have fun, guys."
But it's also like, Elon Musk was on there. Like
Yeah.
we had there's like a lot of people like Jada Pinkett Smith comes on. I listen to a lot of like the ones I listen to are like wellness ones about like spiritual manifestation and all that stuff. And it's awesome because it's like getting content from like people that have been doing it for like years.
Yeah.
So it is a great way. It's just more content.
Yeah, totally. And
cool.
more just able to it helps you stay in front of people.
Yeah, and I
in a
think
time when you
I
can't
always
be in
like
front.
I always like changes and things like
Yeah.
things are always evolving, and even the fact that I feel like talk radio is being replaced by podcasts and kind
Yes.
of moving
Yeah.
in that direction, and there's always going to be some evolution, and I think for people that want to start a podcast or are thinking about starting a podcast, just what Brayden said, like the kind of planning it out and see if you actually genuinely like it.
Yes.
I think a lot of people like the idea of it, but don't
Understand, yeah.
And then for example, before we started the Oakwyn podcast, I made sure that I actually enjoyed doing podcasting. So
How many episodes did you
I
do?
did 50 episodes. Wow. I did 50 episodes on my iPhone. I just
You
did
did.
voice memo. I just used voice memo on my iPhone.
Look it up, people. The Michael Yu podcast.
Yeah.
People do. People
yeah.
still
Yeah.
listen to
Yeah,
it.
some people listen to it. I just put it on the sound quality was awful. And I just kind of, because I want to make sure that I actually enjoyed it, because
Yeah.
you can, and I feel like it's like with everything, you just got to get started, if it's something you want to do, and then you'll make it work. Like we make it work in this format. So just like behind the scenes, we do all 4 of our podcasts for the month in one afternoon or one morning. We just like go through, we do an episode guide. So like I even know other brokerages that are doing podcasts too, and we're
Great.
like, that's awesome. We'll tell you, and they're like, how do you keep up to do it? And I just tell them openly, this is exactly what we do. We do them all at my house. We do them all at the same time. And we try to make them what we call evergreen, where they, we don't talk about dates of specific things.
Except today for
yeah,
me.
except
Sorry,
today
guys.
Except for that.
Morgan.
Whoops.
Yeah, she broke a
First of all,
golden
I have a
rule.
question. Look, I didn't try podcasting at all.
Yeah.
How did you know I'd like it?
I think so this is
Because
something
Mike
that-
asked me, FYI, this is just so you know, we were at our company retreat and he was like, you should be on our, we didn't.
This is something that's annoying about working with Morgan. And it's just so frustrating.
But he was like, can you,
She's
what do you
good at
think?
everything. No. It's
No, I'm not.
freaking annoying.
I'm not.
She's good at everything. I'm like, hey, Morgan, let's let's bake a cake. She's like, yeah, sure, just leave me alone. And then we'll walk around. It's like a
Yeah,
stunning
right.
cake.
Yeah,
I'm like, what
right.
the
Here,
hell?
this is for your wedding.
Yeah. I'm like, I spent 10 years doing this.
You know what it was? I think you needed I never listened to your podcast. I thought it was terrible. And I was like, I'm not listening to it. But
Except for that one episode.
that one episode, and it was me on it.
That was the best one. That was the one that was most listened to, by the way.
No, and then I think it was, we've had a lot of people that have had podcasts, and it's really chemistry. I think that's really what it is.
That's a big
You
part
know?
of it. Having the right chemistry, having the right people involved, and
Like
but-
Mike and I could talk for hours, and we
Yeah.
did, and we do.
The first time Morgan and I met the second time we met at a showing, but the second time we met, we had coffee. There was supposed to be a half an hour coffee. That was like 4 hours.
Yeah. And then I was like, this guy seems, we just continued. It was very funny, but it's like, it's easy for you to,
and we were like,
the flow.
we were doing that weird like handshake, like look at each other close at the end. Yeah.
What?
One of those. Yeah, I remember that.
I remember when I first met you at the showing.
Yeah.
You were so funny. You were like looking at your phone and you had your like cross bag on. And I was like, oh my God. And I was like, oh, Michael, you know that. But you know what? It's like funny. You just, I think with a podcast, like when you start a podcast, you want to have, more than anything of you just liking podcasts, you got to like your co-hosts, you got to like your
like
team.
the people.
Yeah.
It's got then it comes off as natural and it's not like this forced thing.
Yeah, if you're not having fun doing it, you're not going to stick with it, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's nail on the head. So like, if you guys are wanting to start a pod out there, we highly suggest Brayden to like
podcast
to talk about it.
Podfather.
The Podfather Creative, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
.com.
That Brayden's taken it to the next level and made it really professional. But I think even just to like get started, just do it on your iPhone, do it on a voice memo, and like it's weird. We I still got some people listening to it, even though like I'm not really. Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
It was so much fun.
Yeah.
Well, that is it.
Yeah,
Our
that's
food
it.
is here. Our food is here.
All right.
I don't know that, but I
Taco
think
Fino
so.
Chipotle is here. So guys, thanks so much for listening to this odd pod.
Odd pod. I like
Odd
it.
pod.
Oh, I like
behind
that.
the scenes. And if you've enjoyed this podcast, please rate it 5 out of 5 on whichever podcast platform you're listening to. And if you're an agent from another office, please go to our page at oakwyn.com/join and type into the message box pod 2021 and you get a free piece of mystery swag.
Thanks, guys.
See you next time.
Bye. Thank you.